to Speed Puzzling 101 Tips and Tricks. In today's lesson, we will be covering basic piece flipping. As a disclaimer, there is no single correct way to do anything, especially when it comes to speed puzzling. My advice may work for some, and it may not work for others, especially if you are a bit more advanced. I encourage you to try different ways, try different strategies, and see what works for you. Speed puzzling is all about saving time where you can, especially when you are in the most control. And at the very start of the puzzle, when you are flipping the pieces, that is where you have the most control over the speed you're going to be able to go. You cannot control how difficult the puzzle is or what the image even is. You can't control how fast other people are going. You can't control the lighting in a competition room or how the pieces will fall out of the bag when you first open it. But you can control how quick you are when you are flipping pieces, and it is a skill that you can practice and improve on over time. There are more advanced techniques for piece flipping, and there's a lot of different approaches. Today I am only focusing on the absolute basics. Just flipping, no sorting involved, just trying to get all the pieces face up as quickly as possible at the very start of your competition puzzle. When I started speed puzzling, I didn't take this step as seriously as I probably should have. It usually took me around 6 to 7 minutes. There was some sorting involved with it as well, but usually 6 to 7 minutes to flip all the pieces over and get started on the puzzle. That's an average of about 1.2 to 1.4 pieces per second, which is not ideal. You want to be much faster than that. I'm now down to about 3 to 4 minutes, depending on the day and what my strategy is at the time. If I'm sorting, it obviously takes a little bit longer. If I'm just trying to flip all the pieces over, it will obviously be a bit faster. The top puzzlers are around 3 minutes or less. That's not going to be me at any point, but I can still keep practicing, trying new things, and getting the dexterity in my hands to still increase this, even if it's by a few seconds over a period of time. So let's look at what you can do to save some time. For those of you that are quite advanced, this may not be of a big help to you. It's more directed at those that are newer to speed puzzling or may just not have taken this step as seriously or considered it to be as serious as they thought. For those of you that are more advanced, maybe something I say here is just something you can add to your speed puzzling toolbox, or there might be a aspect of my approach that you may think, hey, that might work for me, and maybe save you a bit of time or help you be a bit more organized in your approach. Saving time does matter. Even if it's 5 to 10 seconds, that can, in some competitions, especially the bigger ones, that can move you up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places. So again, you want to focus on getting every second out of what you can control.
For most of these videos, I will show the visuals of what I'm doing so you can follow along while I talk. Perhaps try to do this while I'm talking to see how your speed measures up. I will be using 500-piece Ravensburger puzzles for the majority of these videos, as that is the puzzle size and brand that is most often used at the world and nationals level competitions. However, similar techniques can be used for other puzzle brands and cuts, which are often used at smaller and more local level competitions. I'm going to start this video with the box top already off and up and the bag open. Placing the box top and opening the bag are separate steps, which I won't be covering in this video, so make sure to subscribe for future videos on how to save a few seconds even in those early stages. Now let's do this together, have your puzzle ready, and let's start in 3, 2, 1, puzzle. First thing you want to do is spread those pieces out as far and apart as possible. You'll see that I do it in a U shape to leave some space in the middle if I were to do some edge sorting, or if I want to get started on putting the puzzle together when I am done putting those flipping the pieces. I also tend to start on the side of the table that I would share if there was a competitor there. Make it known that this is your space and don't let them try to encroach on valuable puzzling territory. I also spread the pieces out instead of doing one large pile in the middle. A large pile can help in some cases, depending on the sorting technique that you're using, but we're looking today at purely basic flipping, getting all 500 pieces flipped over as quickly as possible. You'll also notice my left hand, my non-dominant hand. You'll see it sometimes go over the pieces that are already out or pushing them off to the side a little bit, but this is checking to make sure that as many pieces are flat and up against the table as possible. The fewer overlapping pieces, the better. When you start looking for edges or certain pieces when you're doing a sort or just even a random piece later on, the more that the pieces overlap, the tougher this will be. I'm working around the table in a clockwise, in this case, a clockwise motion. Doesn't matter which direction you start, but what you want to do is stay consistent. Moving around and bouncing around are going to eat up a few seconds. This is also why all the pieces are on the table. If I was pulling them out by a handful from the bag, then I'm going to be wasting time going back and forth between the bag and the table, again, eating up time. There's also a much higher chance I'm going to throw a puzzle piece on the ground by accident. If you do throw a piece on the ground, leave it. You don't want to get out of the groove of flipping pieces. Make a mental note and go back and get it later on. Definitely keep using both hands while you're doing this. It is the most boring part of the puzzle experience, so you can get distracted. If you have music that's kind of making you go faster, that's great. I don't tend to use that. I might sing a song in my head, a fast-paced song that keeps me going. But in these last few stages here, it's easy to kind of start looking at the other pieces and think about what you're going to do next. Try to resist that urge and focus what's on the task in front of you, especially through these last 20 or so pieces. The time is ticking away. So here we go. We're just coming up on just past 2.5 minutes now. And yeah, getting excited for the puzzle to start. There's that space in the middle where I can immediately go into my first project, make sure those pieces are all flat, as many as possible, and we're done. Now that you're done flipping, look over the pieces that are on the table. How many aren't the correct way up? There might be a couple, and that's fine. But because you've not overlapped pieces, when you start puzzling, these will stand out a little bit more. How much space did you leave yourself? Is there space in the corners that you could have utilized more? Have you gone right to the edge of the table?
A few times a week, I'll spend about 30 minutes or so just working on piece flipping. One, it helps create muscle memory for both of my hands, especially my left hand, and it helps improve the dexterity for both of my hands. But it's also a good reminder to my brain that says, yes, you can flip over pieces in 5 minutes or 4 minutes or 3 minutes, depending on the strategy that I am taking. So my advice is to practice this over and over and over again. A comment or suggestion below so I know what to address in the future, and click subscribe to make sure you stay up to date with any future lessons. I will see you next week for lesson 2. Until then, class dismissed and happy puzzling. Bye!